Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Kazeem Famuyide of Count It, Ringer Wrestling Show, part of my voice, and a former St. Patrick Celtic. This is a new episode of Sports and Other Things with my guy Gene, and he's interviewing one of the legendary faces in basketball, wherever you go. My former head coach, even though he probably does not remember me at all. The legendary Coach Boyle talks about his time in New Jersey, obviously, legendary time, the head coach of Montverde Academy, put countless players in the NBA. This is an incredible interview, even down to the beginning of the show. Check this out. You won't regret it. Can't wait to listen. Take it out.
Look at this guy.
What's
hey,
up,
Boyle, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I could hear you. You look fantastic. You see? Can you see us?
I can barely see, but I have bad eyesight. I'm doing it on my phone, my iPad.
All right. Join the fucking crew.
Hello, Coach.
Hey, how are you?
What's up, Kev?
Right.
Hey, how are you?
Doing good.
All right. So let me introduce Kevin here. This poor guy who gets thrown into this mix on a Monday night. To my right, Kevin, is my right hand man, John Manning. Say hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Kevin. Nice to meet you.
And coming on. I'm going to tell you something about John. Kevin, he doesn't know a thing about sports.
Well, I don't know why you guys are even doing this tonight. You should be covering like the World Cup soccer or something.
Oh my God!
Kev, don't get us going on soccer,
Kevin,
because
show
us
you know what? Now that you say that,
on cue.
I made a PSA for soccer because we love it so much here on the show.
Go ahead.
Check this out. Tell me what you think.
Go ahead. All right.
What do you think?
Wait.
That's the new World Cup commercial coming out. That's the world premiere.
Kevin, now, after watching that, do you think we should be talking about soccer?
I don't think so.
We're talking sports and every other thing. We're talking sports and every other thing. We're talking sports, and every other thing.
Podcast. But here, as we continue on, John, my right-hand man, doesn't know anything about sports, Kev.
No.
Okay.
So wait, so that's what makes this so fucking hilarious. Because when I said I wanted to put Kevin Boyle on, he goes, "Who the fuck is that?" And then I say, he coached Shane Holloway, and he goes, "Who's that?"
I've never heard of him.
So now we have this drinking game with the podcast.
Right.
That anytime I mention somebody who's famous in sports and John doesn't know it, go ahead. What do you do?
I just get wasted.
He just drinks. Here goes. There. So go ahead. Kev. Mention somebody that you coached. Go ahead. One guy. Go ahead.
Anybody?
Cade Cunningham.
No idea.
Wait, Kev. Keep going. Come on.
He's got to know this guy, Kyrie Irving.
Oh yeah, no.
Wow, I love it right there. Right, okay, we have Phil Colicchio. Raise your hand.
You don't have to raise your hand. He's John Wayno.
No, I know. One of the great all-time coaches that the state has ever seen. And then we got Kevin Boyle, who's taking his time. How's Kelly, by the way, Kevin?
She's doing good.
Is she with you right now?
What? No,
Was she
we're
with you?
she's getting ready. We're going to Hawaii on Wednesday for a
Oh,
tournament.
nice.
See, this is what I'm talking about, Vegas Wayno.
Where's all
You
your
live
daughters?
out in Vegas. You got
Have you-
Kevin Boyle shipping off to Hawaii. What's going on?
What are you ever gonna? Are you either one of you guys thinking of taking your teams to Iceland? I heard it's a very nice place to
Maybe.
be.
They got good
Maybe
puffin.
we'll go nice. Eat some puffin.
Yeah. So John Manning actually went to Iceland. So Kev, Hawaii. How many times have you been there with the team?
This will be the third.
Third. What part of Hawaii do you go to?
Honolulu.
Ooh, every time?
Yeah, that's where the
You
tournament
surf?
is.
Do you surf when you're there?
Absolutely not.
And are there any players in any of the 3 times that you went to Hawaii? Did any of them actually attempt to surf?
No.
Why is that?
Not any of our players. We wouldn't let them do that on the trip.
Look at this guy.
Let
He's
them go in
very
the water,
serious.
but we're not going to let them get hurt. Obviously.
Right.
The
No,
funny
of
thing,
course
last
not,
time I
Kevin.
was there,
You don't want to get
last time I was
guys
there,
getting
No.
hurt.
Kelly
No.
went to the north side where they had. We took a drive and we came upon the beach, and they were actually having ESPN was there in the beach. I had no idea they were having this surf like the championship of the world.
Wow.
Be out there, and I don't know any of the guys, but it was just it was actually a fun day. Everybody was on the beach going crazy with these surfers, and it was kind of cool to see live.
No, absolutely. Now, let me ask you this. That particular team, who was on that particular team? Anybody that John wouldn't know?
Come on,
Or
Now,
no?
well, he should know this one, I would think. If he's R.J. Barrett was on the team.
he's taking another swig.
I know that guy is.
Jesus, cow, he live in a bubble.
No, but listen, Kevin, this is the
Kevin,
thing.
listen, I want you to understand something. I'm not a basketball fan.
Yeah, but if
I
you
wouldn't know who
read
any
the
of these
paper,
people
R.J.
are.
Barrett plays for the Knicks. It's
I know
almost impossible.
Kyrie Irving because they're trying to make him look like a maniac in the media right now. I mean, that's the only reason why I
plays
know
for the
him.
Knicks, and he's got the Post and the Daily News. It's almost impossible not to
Yeah,
see
well,
his name.
Kevin and Phil, I want to say something to both of you.
that's if you read those rags. You know what I mean?
Since I sort of left the reporting of high school basketball, and I've had kids, 14-year-old and a 10-year-old, I have stopped following sports myself like I used to. And now I hook up with this guy Manning. He knows nothing,
Yeah.
right? But I have an incredible history of knowing a lot of people, meeting a lot of people. And anytime I would bring up a name to John, what would you say?
I have no idea who that is. That's it.
And you want to know why? Because he's building elevators in New York City, Kevin.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. That's what John does, Kevin.
Yeah.
While we toil around in this sports world, we got guys building elevators.
Well, he should go to Holiday Inn and Clark and build them there because they don't usually work.
No, man. No, thank you.
All right, here we go. That starts off. You know what? That's going to start off the podcast. This is a very, very special podcast, talking sports and other things. Obviously, you're looking at the star, double G, right at you. Okay, I'm putting on the star glasses.
Oh God!
All right, there it is. That's for Kevin to see. All right, I'm the star now, Kevin. This ain't Vegas Wayno show anymore. This ain't Quick show. This is Golda's show. Okay. Now to my right, John Manning, the orphan. We just know him as the orphan.
Me. How many times you gonna introduce me?
No, but Kevin doesn't really know you.
We introduce ourselves to each other. What are you going over the same?
No. I'm doing this whole open thing again.
How many times are we going to open the show?
This is the real open. And Vegas Wayno, who has known Kevin Boyle since Kevin Boyle. What, you were like 5, right? Is that right, Vegas Wayno?
No,
I don't think it's been that long, but it has to be back in like grammar school, right?
Yeah, probably at least playing 5th grade or 4th grade CYO.
Come on.
I think I was coaching St. Hedwig's in 1975. I think I was coaching St. Hedwig's.
Oh,
Kev, you're lucky to have ref one of your games. You wouldn't have won.
Wow.
So wait a minute. So you're coaching St. Hedwig's, Vegas Wayno?
Yeah, I coached St. Hedwig's in 1975, the 5th and 6th grade team.
And what's Boyle doing?
Playing for
Suburban All-Star.
his team in Clark.
St. Agnes.
St. Agnes and Clark.
Wow. Did you see greatness in Kevin Boyle back then, Vegas Wayno? Did you see greatness? Is that when that first showed when you were watching him playing CYO basketball?
Well, I don't know. Fifth grade, it's hard to tell who's going to be what, but they
No,
beat
I
us.
think we could tell.
So it was obviously that they were, a lot more talented than we were.
Upstairs.
The little Polish kids from Bay Way.
Yeah, well, you know that.
All right, and now we have Kevin Boyle.
Wait a second, Kevin. Can I ask you a question? When did Vegas have a ref any of your games?
Yes.
Okay, would you say he was a fair ref?
Let me think about this.
That's all the answer I needed, really.
I think Lenny and that crew could persuade him to do as needed if somebody would pay for Spiritos or something like that.
Colicchio wasn't lying then. That's all I know.
All right, Colicchio has claimed that Vegas Wayno showed a very, very huge bias, especially towards St. Hedwig's. And now, listen, I have no problem with that. I went to St. Hedwig's, as a lot of my friends, but did you kind of feel that same way about Vegas Wayno at that time, Kevin? I mean, the guy is all the way out in Vegas. He had something going on back then.
Wait a second. I refereed when he coached at St. Pat's. I did not referee in the grammar school.
The high school games?
Listen, that's...
Oh, you're never going to get a call from him. Trust me, Kev. He did not say very nice things about you when you first came on the scene. I'm playing that. I'm kidding, Wayno. I'm kidding.
Now, me and Skeeter Regan refereed at school one.
Yeah.
Skeeter Regan,
I don't know Skeeter Regan.
All right, let's get to it. Kevin Boyle's
You got
here.
the Summer League, Wayne?
No, that was a regular season game. We just played. It was just a game that I don't know. Probably
We played there a few times. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is beautiful, reliving the past, Kevin. That's what I wanted. That's why I wanted you on. You probably thought I wanted you on to relive our time in Myrtle Beach when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
Oh God.
Kevin,
turn your volume
Do you
down.
remember this? Do you remember this guy? Do you remember this guy?
Kevin, take a look.
Do you remember this guy?
Look at this guy.
Right. Well, how about this? You remember this?
Wait.
Tell me if you remember this.
God.
Oh, wow.
Oh, look at those
Up
guys.
there for a second.
Holy crap.
I want to talk about this. Here it is.
Wow.
First time. That's 30 years ago. Let's look at that picture.
Wow.
There's a
Look
young, a rambunctious Gene Golda. Oh, my God. Kevin is now he left.
He's like, I'm out of here.
He's out of here. Oh, Jesus. Look at him. He clicked himself off because you want to know why? Because he's not happy with himself in that picture. He was a little chubby back then.
That's all right.
And that's what the problem. That's me, Gene Golda, head. He is I am at that point the sports director of TKR Cable and Elizabeth, and there I am handing the Union County Trophy to a very happy, as you could tell, Kevin Boyle. Very excited to get there.
You look very excited.
Yeah, Kev, great. Listen, you could be a little bit more excited.
It's almost like we were handing you the croissant from Nick and Son.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? So you can take the picture down.
All right.
Kevin,
Gene, here's the best. As I get this wire around my ankle. All right. Kevin.
Gene, this is.
Hold on.
You guys all know, obviously, Red McGlory and so forth, the family. And you'll like this, Phil, too. Years ago, we're playing with, I think we had beaten Elizabeth for our first county championship, and it was very heated and, big crowds and, a lot of emotion. And Red, who worked for the city, and so the next year or 2 years later, we're playing Elizabeth again in the final. And me and Bob Carn, a friend of mine, went out, had a few call ones, and we say, let's call Red and mess with him. So we call Red at his house and, telling him that, if you guys win Saturday, you're going to be with the fishes. You'll be at the bottom of the ocean. And we're going. And then, so they star 69 us. I think that's what you did, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That is calling you. So he gets me. And so right away I pick up. I realize what he did. So I say, hey, have you been getting crank phone calls? So have I. And he goes, really? I go, yeah, people are threatening my life and this and that. So he goes, Kevin's been getting the calls too. And so the next day I called Joe Picaro. I'm working for Gallo Wine. I'm driving to Jersey City. And I remember I called Joe. I go, Joe, this is the funniest story. Last night, me and Bob, he goes, Kevin, wait a second. Before that, the police are here. So he has the police get on the phone with me. And I said to the guy, we heard you were having crank phone calls. And this is very serious. So I'm telling the guy, well, it's probably, I think it was Quab. I said, it's probably whoever the player was. I don't know, it was Quab Air, whoever. I said, it's probably Quab Air. He's just joking. He goes, oh, Kevin, you have kids. You got to take this serious. So I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. So the next day we go to play, and they have a cop sitting by me on the bench.
Protect you from
Mike
yourself.
Mary wrote an article in the Daily Journal. He wrote an article about this is going overboard, people threatening coaches, and I have a cop sitting next to me in the county like final. The phone call we made.
That's great.
I'll tell you, those are the good old days, John. That's what I'm talking about. You know, you're talking about the '90s, and Kev, that boy, what a segue. You come into Elizabeth, right? You're an upstart coach. When you first, got into this high school game and started coaching at St. Pat's, what do you think was going to happen? I mean, what were the goals at that point?
Well, I'm not smart enough for to long-term plan. It's just the next day, and wanted to be competitive. Obviously, I started coaching St. Joe's and Roselle, and Joe Picaro, the principal's son, was on the team. So he in St. Pat's, he got kind of bad. So he asked me to take over the varsity, and I, went there and, just was kind of into it because I was young and loved hoops and wanted to see, wanted to see us be as good as we can get, So, we were able to get some good athletes in early and, play hard and play defense and, pretty quickly get competitive with the better teams, the Elizabeths and Linden and Plainfields and those type of teams.
And you know what? There it is right there. Elizabeth. Now you're talking about Phil Colicchio, Benny Candolino. I always believed that you had to kind of get out of Elizabeth. And once you got out of Elizabeth, then sort of, I guess the next hurdle would be Bobby Hurley in the state. Did you kind of feel that way too early on in the career?
I mean, at the time, Benny was coaching Elizabeth, and they were, the King Public School and one of the top 3 teams in the state, if not the second best team, and St. Anthony's, and they had some good battles. They both won some. It wasn't always St. Anthony's, and so they were the 2 teams. And for us, obviously, unfortunately, the county we're in was Elizabeth, and the state group we were in was St. Anthony's, parochial B. So if you ever wanted to win either, you're going to have to, get the similar talent they had and beat those guys. And, so obviously those guys were both terrific. And then later on, Phil, when, he became the coach at Linden, kind of basically did the same thing, just had his teams right there as, top teams in the state every year. So then we had Elizabeth fell off, I think, after that, if I'm right. I think Benny stopped. I forget exactly, but then, basically Linden became Elizabeth,
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking about a legend, Benny Candolino and Phil. So Kevin Boyle comes along here, a kid from Clark, New Jersey, wants to make some waves in the basketball world, the high school basketball world. Who doesn't, right? What are your early thoughts of the kid from Clark?
Well, Kevin spent a lot of time in Elizabeth growing up. I mean, playing at the PAL. I think I told you that story a couple weeks ago. I was a young guy who used to follow Kevin around as he was shooting down at the PAL and rebound for him. And every once in a while, he'd let me take a shot. But, with guys like Bob Leonard. And so Kevin did spend time in Elizabeth. He knew Elizabeth. And he just knows basketball. So, yes, he was a Clark kid. But Kevin was everywhere playing, from Newark to Jersey City to Elizabeth. So he's been, at all the major playgrounds and all the right spots as a player. People sometimes forget how good of a player Kevin was. He wasn't just a great coach. He's a heck of a player. One of the better guards Union County has seen, especially, during that time. And somebody who was slow and very methodical. He got to wherever he wanted to get on the court. So he did have a lot of Elizabeth roots, but, and it wasn't just he just popped in from Clark and said, okay, I'm going to be the coach at downtown St. Patrick's and Elizabeth, and it's going to work. It doesn't work that way.
All right, we're with Kevin Boyle, head coach, Montverde Academy out in Florida. Started his high school coaching career, St. Pat's and Elizabeth. We also have Phil Colicchio here, the 8-time state champion and former rival of Kevin Boyle in Vegas Ueno, of course, and John Manning. And Vegas Ueno, I said that I would actually allow you to get the first question in on Kevin Boyle. So I'm actually going to defer to you. You have a question for Kevin Boyle. Finally joined us.
I was going to say, you took 2 hours before sitting here, going over your format. And then
said you can have the first question after he asked 10 questions.
Yeah.
Figure that one out.
My show. My show, Wayne.
Yeah, but Wayne, listen, you can have the first question. Go ahead.
Wayne. Yeah. I said the first question. Now, so what if it's the 10th?
Oh, yeah. I'll have the first one after the 10th. You brought up Clark, and you didn't mention the fact that this guy played on the county championship team from Clark. How did the team?
Kevin Boyle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still,
We'll
still one of
continue.
the top 3 county moments ever.
Yeah,
Really? Okay, fill us in.
And this is the guy. This is the 8-time Emmy guy who doesn't come up.
Wow.
Saying
Why is
you
he
didn't do
coming
your
at
due
me?
diligence.
I'm working
Mr.
10
Big
jobs.
Time didn't do
Wayno.
his due diligence.
See, you know what? You know what, Kevin? Here comes Vegas Wayno. Big
I
shot
love
now.
Vegas
He's
Wayno.
retired.
He's my favorite.
He's retired out and he's playing Keno slots left and right. I living the high life as a retired man. I've got 2 kids. I got 10 jobs, and he's insulting me. Now go on with the question, Vegas.
Tell us about, so it wasn't like the guy just appeared on the Union County basketball scene as a coach of St. Patrick's. The guy played in Clark, Union County basketball, so he's been around for a long time, of course. And I mentioned to you that playing in grammar school as well. So it's not like he was a fresh face coming in and didn't know what he was doing there. But tell us about, as Phil mentioned, that that was one of the big moments in Union County basketball when little Clark, Johnson Regional High School wins the county championship. Tell us about that.
Wow. I love that, Wayno.
Well, obviously we had Steve Petrozelli, who's I know has been an assistant to Phil. At least he was, right, Phil?
Still is going on year 6.
Yeah, so and he was an excellent coach and a good. He really studied the game, and we were. He was young. He was like 24 years old or something, and we had a good group of 5 or 6 guys that played together almost every day, all year. And Clark traditionally was bad. I think that after we won the county, the year after that, they started the 37-game losing streak, and then won a game or 2 and lost like another 37 games. So it just wasn't a town that was known for basketball, and especially with all the athletes in Union County. So it was kind of a thing for Clark to be ranked like 8th in the state and win the county championship was something that something it kind of be like Cranford winning it today or something like that. It's just something very unexpected. So it was a great honor, to play with those guys, and just a really great championship, and that we won. And it kind of it was probably the only time Clark had sellout crowds at home games, and so it was a lot of fun, and it was something that the parents, my father and mother, they loved it, with all the group of parents that would go to all the games. So that I think it was a big thing for the town as well as the players.
Hey, Kev,
I'll tell you, as you're telling that story, I got to cut in. As you're telling that story,
Phil Colicchio's cameraman is going to win an Emmy for this. Is all I got to say.
he's on like an earthquake cam over there. I'm trying to pay attention to Kevin and Phil's camera. I swear to God, it has moved. What are you, Stanley Kubrick over there with that camera?
If you really want to know, my dog keeps eating all the ornaments off the tree. So I got to keep
Could you do something about that? Maybe put a cage up or something?
Kevin's dog sitting in his lap, nice and quiet.
See how nice?
My dog ripped my hat off, so I don't have the hat on anymore to Santa hat, and she's ripping everything off the tree. So my wife's about to kill her. She just put her in the laundry room. So now I'm good.
All right, well, hey, we got it.
Now, I need to tell the folks who has come through the Kevin Boyle coaching system. And I want to say this about Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to make this public for the first time.
All right.
I know I told this.
You're gonna list a lot of names.
I'm going to list some big names. Let me start. He once coached a guy by the name of Joel Embiid. Look at this, Kevin.
I don't know who that is.
Joel Embiid.
Yes, Joel Embiid. But now I know who he is.
D'Angelo Russell. Am I correct there, Kevin?
Correct.
He's drinking again. Kevin, this guy doesn't know anything.
D'Angelo.
He doesn't know your greatness, but let me talk about it.
What?
Here it goes. So Kevin Boyle comes along into Elizabeth. Okay, I'm a young reporter. And, I got a real sense of Kevin early on in my career that this guy's feisty.
Okay.
Now hearing the story.
I like that.
No.
That I like.
I knew it. I sensed it.
I like the feisty.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And you
With
hear
that,
he's feisty.
I like it.
Both of these guys. Colicchio,
I like
Boyle.
Colicchio is like my favorite. I like him.
I'll tell you
what. I
what.
want him to be my coach.
Kevin,
I
were
think
once.
you come to the games to watch me and Kevin.
You guys could have came and coached me in hockey. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what. Watching those two battle on the court,
Oh,
fucking awesome.
I bet.
Man. Oh yeah, it was
I
awesome.
bet. Listen, two dudes that just want to win.
Oh, that's it. And I knew Kevin.
Game over.
And I knew how much Kevin wanted to win. You could just tell. Like you hear these stories about his past and his playing days, and he played at St. Peter's, and he was a scrappy son of a gun.
There's nothing better than that.
No, I know.
Neither one of them are going to give up an inch.
So a lot of folks don't like when a newcomer comes to town, and I know Wayne that people knew he was. I'm talking about in the coaching industry here because I knew what Kevin was. I knew what Kevin was about to do. Well, I knew he was about to I don't know, take it to the next level. And the one thing I will say about Kevin, and I'll say this about Phil, is both of those two guys know how to fucking coach and develop players. That is the best compliment I can give coaches. Both of these guys that you see on the screen are not only getting these high-end players. People want them to have high-end players. Parents want these guys to coach their kids because they're so good at what they do. And I want to say this, Kevin, I saw it from an early age, and I'll say that with you as well, Phil. I saw it in you, this incredible passion that comes with it. And Phil, I mean, Kevin, I'll start with you. Am I wrong with what I say about that passion for coaching?
Well, obviously, you have a strong passion for basketball if you're doing it this long. And, growing up, I would play countless hours, 10, 12 hours a day in the summers, legitimately, at least. Sounds not real, but that's the truth. I actually worked in the gym for 6 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I got paid to play in Clark. Rec centers. But, so just loved the game, had a passion for it, and, just competitive and wanted to win, so it's something that, I still feel today. And when I lose that, then it's time to stop coaching. But, it's still something that just keeps you going, keeps you focused.
And you, Phil?
I still have a passion for kids. It's nice to win. We, Group 4 state championship last year. The year before that, it pales in comparison to what Kevin's doing on a national level. But I still have a passion for kids, trying to make kids better. I wish I had those. You can tell John all my players' names. He'll never get it. He can sit there for another month.
Go ahead, give him a name. Give him a name, Phil.
Here.
Phil, give him a name.
Jamal Tate.
Jamal Tate.
There it is. This guy's not going to make it through the podcast.
Listen.
Well, I still have that passion. I still enjoy going to practice during the day. My body's getting a little older, a little tired. I can tell you that much. I don't know if, Kev, you're experiencing that yet. You keep in a little better shape than I do. You work out a lot. But, it's still fun to a certain extent. Basketball has changed so much in New Jersey. So that part of it I don't like, the way the game has changed. I like the fact that New Jersey did away with.
All right, we lost. All right, let's.
Well, listen on that. Maybe you'll come back. But,
he's back.
Phil, listen. One thing I will say, I just want to say, as a hockey parent, right? What I've learned over the years is I'll buy the coach every single time. It doesn't matter. I mean, right now I'm traveling from Old Bridge to Secaucus, New Jersey, because I like the coach. We've had so many coaches that are just okay with, whatever. It doesn't matter if they win. It doesn't matter if they lose. It doesn't matter if they compete. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, that doesn't teach the kids anything at all. It's that's what makes a great coach. I think the coaching to win and getting the most out of every player that you have. That's what makes a great coach. And as a parent, I'll buy that every time. So it doesn't surprise me at all, that the top of the top of the list are flocking to you guys because that's where you want to be.
Well,
if you want to move forward, that's where you want to be.
I'm a public school coach, so for the most part, I get who I got. For the most part,
but you're getting the most out of what you got.
Well, yeah, I don't have a lot of parents calling me up saying, we're going to come. Not too many moving to downtown Elizabeth, but
you're still winning championships.
No, that's not the point I'm trying to make. Comparing what Kevin does and what I do, it's kind of like basketball-wise, comparing apples to oranges. Passion-wise, I think there's a comparison, obviously.
I was going to say, it's like an identical passion. Whether it doesn't matter if you have a national level, NBA guy or a kid that's not going to play in college. It's just what are you going to get out of those players? Am I right?
Absolutely. I mean, Kevin just won his 800th game, which is
Congratulations.
Wow, congrats.
Wait,
Hold
Phil,
on.
Phil,
Hold
Phil,
on, Phil.
Phil. Hey, Kevin, 800. There are a couple things with
800.
that. One, wow. Two, you're old.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Phil.
800 is,
I
yeah.
said that to him when I sent him congratulations. I said, I guess a couple years ago I got my 500th win, and they asked me, "Well, what do you feel?" I said, it just means I'm getting old. That's all it means. So I said that to Kevin. Your 800th win, and he's older than me, so that means he's getting real old. But you can't tell me 30 years ago when Kevin started, or 35 years ago, I think it is, that he ever dreamed that he'd be going to Hawaii for Christmas on a tournament, be playing on ESPN. That stuff was all unheard of. I mean, Coach Hurley kind of paved the way to that, and Kevin just took it and brought it to a whole nother level. And then once he went down to Mount Verde, forget about it. A lot of people say, how come Kevin's not coaching in college? I think the people that Kevin deals with, they'd rather have him at the high school level, having the first round pick every year than in college. There's no doubt about it. He can coach. He can be a big time college coach wherever he wanted to be. We've talked about that for years, but I think you have to find your niche and where you belong. And I think he made his niche. He made, I guess Oak Hill, you could say, did that for years, but nobody ever hears Oak Hill anymore once Kevin took over.
Wow.
That's amazing. I really do. And yeah, he has good players, but he develops players too. I mean, these kids just don't walk in off the street and they're great, and they just, here you go, here's the ball, go play. Watch him coach a game. He's probably nuttier now than he was back then.
Is that true, Kev?
Yeah.
No,
Are you as crazy?
No, I'm not. I'm actually calmer.
I watched his son coach a game a couple weeks ago, and Kevin was on the sidelines. You can't tell me you were nice and calm.
Kevin, that is complete horseshit. You know that.
He still got it.
But I used to be though.
No, because we're getting older, we can't run as much.
Well, plus you have to be, you have to be careful today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
hear
no
that.
doubt about that. But Kevin, sort of following up to what Phil said, just sort of grasping everything you can out of a player, where no matter the level. And I'm still assuming you're getting, you get the thrill out of that. Am I correct?
Yeah, well, obviously you like kids at that age. A lot of kids that be 15 to 18, it's a big time in their life, and you have a big, role in helping them develop as a player and a person. And the biggest thing is to be able to be honest with kids, and you could be hard on them, but to tell them the truth and hold them accountable. And not to let them know that they're not as good as they think they are in a lot of cases, or as their parents think they are, or how much better they have to get if they want to go where they think they're going. So a lot of times we'll show our guys, guys who failed that were ranked third in the country, that were ranked 10th in the country, that were ranked 15th. And you can take any McDonald's list and the top 25 players, and half of them usually or more are not in the NBA, and all of them thought they were going to be first round picks.
Can I ask this?
Yeah.
How has that, to both of you, because you've both been coaching for a long time, how has that changed working with the players, the parents over the years since you guys started in coaching into today? The athletes and the whole atmosphere of high school and amateur sports has changed over the years.
Well, it's going to really change now because you have this
on a bigger
NIL
scale
in high schools.
Okay,
Go ahead, Kev.
Hello?
Say that one more time, Kev.
Go
I
ahead,
think it's
Kev.
going to really change now because you have the NIL, the deals that kids can get in high schools. Our state, New Jersey allows it, but our state in Florida doesn't allow it.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's just, I don't know if it's, in American capitalistic system, it's probably what should be, but I don't know if it's good for the game,
So they're giving deals in high school? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you can get deals in high school. Like, our state will not allow it. I have a kid now that's a really good sophomore kid from Maine, Cooper Flag, that he could probably get $300,000 to $500,000 right now if he was playing in New Jersey.
Ooh.
Wow.
Because he's a kid from Maine. He's like 6'9". Everybody thinks he's the next Larry Bird, which he has a long way to go to be that. But he was kind of compared because he was on USA Basketball and was like, the MVP of this 16 gold medal team. And he's in a situation, where everybody is thinking that, and some of these kids are just getting good arrangements. It's and then there's that overtime league now for high school kids where there's probably 20 kids getting like 100,000, 150,000.
So
play
what do you
league.
think about that personally, Kev? Like, what's your personal
again,
feeling
I
on
think
that?
it's just like the transfer portal in college. I think they all probably should be. Like, in other words, I mean, you look at college, for example. Obviously, if Zion Williamson and R.J. Barrett go to Duke, and Duke makes X millions of dollars more than normal because these guys are on an ESPN show. They did an ESPN thing the whole year, so it was incredible amount of money they made more that year than any other year. Those guys were the reason. So they were kind of like the employees, but they're not getting paid. They're getting a scholarship, but I understand the scholarship's a value without question. And for some players, the scholarship is a great value. It's $60,000, $50,000 a year. For
Sure.
other players, that probably, those guys probably deserved $2 million each that year, $3 million each to the money that was brought in. So if they were in a company, you would be like, this is ridiculous. I'm getting 60,000. The owner made, 400 million, and I'm getting 60,000, and I was the reason he made it. So it was. I understand that they deserve that, but for a lot of other players, it's become. I don't know if it's a good thing. I don't know if it's a good thing for the college game, even though it's a fair thing. Just like letting players transfer without sitting out. Why should you have to sit out if you're in a school? You can go to class, you can be in a band. Why do I like to sit out in basketball? The NCAA finally changed that. But I don't know if it's good for the game because now every year everybody's transferring and, it's probably, it's kind of probably, in my opinion, probably not good for college. But
Well, it's probably not a great thing for it not to be universal, right? I mean, it should be one or the other, right? Some states have it. Like you said, your state doesn't have it. Other states have it.
Well, in college, they allow it for everybody, but in high school, only some high schools will allow it. Only some states.
I mean, you think
sure
that's going to
there's a
make
law
players
saying-
flock to those states, right?
Well, again, you could lose the guy because I'm sure, but I'm sure if somebody ever takes him to court, I'm sure they'll win that
Right.
because it's going to be hard to defend.
Well, Kev, if your big guy wants to make 300 to 500 a year, tell me he can move to Elizabeth and we'll get him an NIL deal. Tell him you got a buddy in Elizabeth who'd take him in a second.
There we go.
And
Perfect. See, we're making trade moves here.
Listen, that's what this show is about. Phil is looking for a state title number 9. We're with Kevin Boyle, head basketball coach, Montverde Academy. I mean, gee whiz, Kevin, national coach of the year a few times. I mean, so many great players, NBA players have come through your ranks, including Shaheen Holloway, Al Harrington, Kyrie Irving, Sam Dellenbear. The list just, keep drinking, goes on and on and on. I have a question that I've been dying to ask you. All the teams you have coached, right? You've got them all in your head. You have to put together a starting 5, an all-star team, a Kevin Boyle all-star team. This is a lot of pressure. You've had a lot of great players. There are guys that are going to listen to this in the NBA because I'm going to send this out to everybody. I want to know to everybody,
even all the elevator guys. They're all going to see.
That's right.
And this is
everybody in Vegas, all over the world, is going to see Kevin Boyle's own all-star team. He's coached so many players. Kevin Boyle, give me your guards, your forwards, and your center of all the kids you coached your entire career.
Wow. That's a huge question.
Holy shit. That's pressure. And I'm putting it on him. No.
But you're not going to get the answer.
What? No, you have got to do it. You cannot back out of this. A guy that coached in Elizabeth and is from Union County will not back out of this. Let's go.
I will offend no one. Time to decipher that, really. I never even thought about that.
Oh, yeah, because that's because you've never come on a podcast like this before.
I'll say this. When Kyrie transferred to Kevin, what was he, a sophomore, Kevin, or a junior?
Middle of his, late in the sophomore year. So he played his junior and senior year.
They were in our summer league, and Kevin and I are talking. He goes to me, see that kid right there? I said, yeah. He's going to be the best guard to ever come out of New Jersey. I said, come on. He goes, that kid's going to be the best guard, if not the best player to ever come out of New Jersey. And I never thought I'd say anybody was better than Shaheen, because I just thought Shaheen Holloway was just an unbelievable high school player. Kyrie was pretty close. Obviously, as a pro, he's surpassed Shaheen. But yeah, he said he saw that back then, which I thought was amazing. I'll never forget that. Sitting in my summer league, and he pointed that out. So that just shows you that he knows how to develop and recognize it. So
no doubt about it. And what was it And I'm going to give you time to think about that question I had for you, Kevin. You're not getting off this podcast without naming your all-star team of all the players that you coach. And by the way, Kevin, I'm very good friends with one of your former players, Kaz Famuyide. You know him?
Yes.
Yes, I work.
Let me ask you this, though.
Go ahead.
The harder thing, too, when you do that type of stuff, it's sometimes you have a guy that was, but like for example, like Phil said, Shaheen was a great high school player and an outstanding college player. But he, you know what I mean? And if you go by the body of his career, he was third team All-State as a freshman, overall, then All-State 3 years in a row, high school American 3 years. So if you go through the body of over the 4-year period of time, he was one of the best guards ever in New Jersey for a high school player through his career. Now, if you said just take his senior year, and then you say just take a Kyrie senior year or this guy's senior year, then there's some guys that were close to him, or some guys may have been better. But if you go by the career, there's not many guys. Wani Wagner when he was with Camden, and Bobby Hurley had, I guess, at least a real good 3 years, if not 4 years, at his father's place and winning and so forth. But it was just he had a really good run there. But again, that's a tough question because there's a lot of guys we've had, and obviously if you go by careers, Joel we had for 1 year, then he had transferred because of a situation that was outside of our control, and his control. But it was a situation where obviously we had him. He's an all-star center. You had Ben Simmons, who's an all-star. Ben Simmons was probably the best high school player, him or LeBron, that I've ever seen.
Okay, so he's on the team, is what you're saying. Ben Simmons is
definitely beyond. Ben Simmons won 3 national championships in 3 years.
Okay, so Ben Simmons is on the all-star team. He doesn't know who it is.
Ben Simmons, all-star as a high school player, was as good as anybody, including LeBron. I mean, you're talking to me. That's just a fact.
And I'm talking about high school career here, Kev, in your starting 5. Okay, so definitely we have Ben Simmons. All right, he did not commit to Shaheen Holloway. Are you going to commit to Shaheen Holloway right now? Yes or no?
I'm still thinking of everybody because we had Shaheen as a guard. We had
all right, I'm going to let you think. I'm going to talk about Shaheen. I get it. I get it's going to be tough. I know, Kev.
We had 2 guys that were National Player of the Year as R.J. Barrett from the Knicks, and you had R.J. Barrett from the Knicks was the National Player of the Year. Cade Cunningham from the Pistons was the National Player of the Year.
Are we forgetting about Al Harrington or
Al
Samuel Delham? Hey, you forget about all these St. Pat's guys.
Al Harrington was the National Player of the Year, and Kyrie Irving, who was like ranked 3rd or 4th in his class, but was as good as anybody. And we also had Tariq Whitehead, who's started slow at Duke so far with an injury, but he was National Player of the Year. So. If I name him, I'm leaving off somebody who's a National Player of the Year as a top 5. So.
Well, listen, no, but that's I'm putting you on the spot. You've got to have like a special spot for someone maybe earlier in the career that maybe doesn't have the talent level of what you got now or what you recently had.
This will be a good one for the second podcast. But go ahead, G.
Go ahead. No, so I would love to start talking about Shaheen Holloway because he and I started our prospective careers sort of together at the same time back in the 90s when Shaheen was playing for St. Pat's. I believe, did he start as a sophomore for you, Kev? If I'm
freshman.
He was a freshman. He was playing for you as a freshman. Okay. I wasn't sure. And at the same time, I just had started at TKR Cable. I was the sports director, yada, yada, yada. We've had a lot of interactions. I'll never forget driving over the Goethals Bridge. It was me, Shaheen Holloway, and Chris Chavanis. We got pulled over. Somebody didn't have a license. I didn't know about that. I wish somebody would have picked me off on that. Yeah, you laugh about that, Kev. I wasn't laughing that time as I was standing on the side of the Goethals Bridge. And I go, you don't know who that guy is right there? He's in the paper. And Chris and Shaheen are looking at me, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, guys. Could someone fill me in on it? All right, so we go back like that far. So Shaheen means a lot to me. I know he means a lot to you because as far as I'm concerned, he was sort of the jump start to your career. He was probably one of your first big time players. And now that you've seen him progress to the level that he has as a coach, that has got to be an amazing feeling. And what did he mean to you in your career?
Well, without question, I think the other day he might have texted me about my winning number of wins I had, and I kind of commented to him that he was the kind of cornerstone that started the program off. We had Charles Lott before him, who was an excellent player, played at James Madison. Chris Clemens, the first, the big kid who came from Hillside, who was a good player. Unfortunately, he passed away, not too long ago. But, they were two big young kids that came and got us started and got us some respect in the county and got us, where we're going to be pretty good. But Shaheen was that guy that just took you to a different level, and I remember he was playing Orange Park, I think it was. It was either East Orange or Orange, and he was an 8th grader. And I think it was Sandy Pionin from the Roadrunners was like, "You got to see this kid." And then turned out he was a New York kid, not a New Jersey kid. And
No problem there.
But and I went out to see him in Jamaica, Queens, at an IS8 school, and it was a good situation because it turned out the family did not want him to be in New York. They wanted him. There was some things at home. They thought it was better that he was out of the neighborhood, out of that rough neighborhood he was in, and there's some crime and those type of things, and they thought it'd be better for him to get the structure and discipline out of that area. And so it ended up we got lucky there, and then he was just right away made us competitive nationally. Our first year, we started playing everybody. We were losing some of those teams back then, but we were competitive with them. And then his sophomore year, then after that, it took off. Every year after that, we were kind of highly ranked nationally. And at first, it was really him and good players, but a lot of guys that were not great players in the sense of mid or big Division I players. A lot of Division II players, a lot of role guys that played hard, but he was just an incredible guard. And I mean, I remember people forget when he was a freshman in the middle of his freshman year at Seton Hall. He was Big East Briefs, the magazine called the Big East Briefs. He was the player of the year in the league as a freshman in the middle of the year when George Blaney was the coach, because George played fast and Shaheen was getting a ton of points. I think he had like 37 against Stanford when they were really good with Brevin Knight at the Meadowlands, and he was killing. And then when Tommy Amaker came in, it wasn't a bad thing, but he tried to make him more of a pass first point guard, and he ended up having a good career with Tommy too, and they had some good success. But he became less of a scorer and more of a distributor in that system. But again, had a great college career as well. And if he was, Shaheen's small, if he was 6'2", he would have been an NBA player.
Oh, no question about it. And I remember when he broke, not literally but figuratively, Stephon Marbury's ankles in the game. Back when they faced off against each other, he had a nice, beautiful crossover. I'll never forget it.
That's affordable.
Yeah, absolutely. But his success as a coach, Kevin, how does that make you feel as his former coach? Did you see something in him as a coach when he was a player?
I think with him he's another guy who's really competitive and really gets after. And a couple of years ago, we had a guy, Sandro, who played with Seton Hall, who's with the Bucks now. And Sandro was there, so I went to a practice at Seton Hall. And I got to see Shaheen coaching in practice with Kevin Willard, and I was happy to see him because he was doing such a good job, and Kevin gave him a lot of rope to coach. Shaheen was really getting after the guys, really coaching them hard, and it was good to see. And I knew because sometimes some guys come out, guys are good players, but it doesn't translate to coaching. You could see there that I was going to translate. And he's not afraid to get in guys, and coach them. They know he cares about them, but coach them hard and demand, accountability and demand effort. So I knew there that he was going to be good. And obviously, he had another good win against Rutgers last night. So he's had some really good wins in his career already. Obviously, he has beaten Kentucky, has beaten Purdue, has beaten Rutgers. So he's off to a career, and he's going to end up having a long, successful career. Because I also think he'll be able to, in time, he'll be able to do a good job recruiting. As a former player, as a guy that I think the kids can relate to. He should do a good job there, and I think Seton Hall will continue the success they've had recently, and hopefully pass it.
That's excellent. I mean, that's when that's your former student and goes on and reaches such heights. It's amazing.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question, Gene? I had a question for you.
Go ahead.
Are you asking Coach Boyle questions so he will just name guys that I don't know and then drink? Because I had to run and pee. That's why I had to do. That's why I had to leave. I had to go pee.
That is not
because I've been drinking so much from all the names that I don't know that I had to actually go pee in the middle of a podcast.
And you know what the funny thing is? The one sport that he actually sort of knows is hockey, and he doesn't even know that.
Yeah.
Kevin Boyle, Phil Colicchio, John Manning, Vegas Wayno here on the podcast. And we just talked about Shaheen Holloway, the head coach over at Seton Hall University, former player for Kevin Boyle at St. Patrick's High School. Another guy I love to talk about is Al Harrington. And I love this kid, Al Harrington. Do you know Al?
Boyle's going dark on us.
Oh, no, that's all right. Listen, Kelly's probably upset that he's on so late. We appreciate his time. By the way, I believe this, and Phil and Kevin, answer me this. Behind the great coach is always a great woman. I'm going to give you the opportunity now to talk about that. Kevin, I know your wife, Kelly. She's wonderful. I've always remembered having great conversations with her. And I'm going to be honest with you. To be married to you for this long is an amazing, amazing thing. Am I correct with that, Kevin?
Wow, that's something coming from you, Gino.
yeah, poor Jamie.
There it is. There's your opportunity, Kev.
No, of course. I think without question, coaches their time is taken a lot from, out there working with the kids, even though, again, we've been fortunate to have really good players, but obviously the league we're in now, most of the teams we have 6-7 Division I players. So it's really competitive, and you got to constantly get the players better. So it takes a lot of understanding and support from your wife. And so Kelly's been terrific forever that way. She's, always been incredibly supportive of me and the teams, and, really looks forward to the games, and, and she might be more competitive to me. She gets me mad because she gets worried about games and every game, and this guy's not ready to play, and she wasn't on the last trip, and she's sending me messages about Oak Hill and the other team, and you have to be ready to play that team or you're gonna lose, So it's good. She's been terrific and great support.
Man, you need that. And Phil, same, right?
Phil, go ahead, give it to us.
Kelly's much more involved with basketball than my wife. My wife, she comes to championship games. She likes basketball. She was my cheerleader in high school, but she'd much prefer to go shopping than come to a game. But recently, she'll come to some regular season games.
How about that? Hey, listen to me. We have a special guest about to join us who has a question for Kevin Boyle. Let's pop him on.
Wow. All right.
Parts unknown, rate unknown.
Kevin, I don't know.
Kevin, you have no idea. Go ahead, put him on. He has been alluding. Here he is.
This is the
masked megastar. Look at this. He has been escaping the FBI, TV people. He's a 33-year TV veteran and also a professional wrestler in a war with many, many people. Mass megastar, we have Kevin Boyle on, the head coach of Montverde Academy. What do you have for him?
And he seems unfazed by your mask, which is mind-boggling.
I mean, this is the thing. Kevin
Boyle is like Stonewall.
I try to surprise.
I respect the shit out of it. He didn't even flinch.
Like, that's because this guy's been in like this national basketball scene forever. He's as scarred as I am. He can look across and see a wrestler and not think twice. Yeah. Go ahead, Mass Megastar. What do you got for Kevin Boyle?
Hey, Coach, G mentioned Al Harrington earlier. What is he doing nowadays?
It's funny. Last year, Al came up he was in Atlanta. We played in Atlanta, and he came to the game with his whole family. So it was nice to check in with everybody. And then he actually put a pitch together to our school. He wanted to do a TV series on our school. And it was they pitched a school and they pitched a board. It was going to be like 5 years of like a series of 8-10 shows a year. But the school at this point is still declined, hasn't moved forward with it yet. I don't know if they will. But so I've been in touch with Al. My son Brendan's actually been talking to Al a lot because he did a lot of video work for us. And then Al, I know, is the king of the cannabis building now. We have a marijuana business now.
Yep.
So I know he's like hitting a home run there, where he's supposedly just like a young star in the cannabis world. And he had people forget what a career he had in the NBA. I mean, I think Al must have had 14,000 points. Played for a long time. He was really liked by the other players too, and respected. And he was just it's incredible when I remember when he was a freshman, he was a sub at Roseau's freshman team. He started for us as a sophomore because we had no big team, no big guys. That's the only way. That was Shahin's senior year. And then he just got better and better. I mean, he went from like number 100 in the country to number 1 in the country his senior year. He was National Player of the Year, and just had a great career and just a really good guy.
Absolutely, a very sweet guy. I could remember when he actually tapped me on the shoulder when I was on the Garden floor one day prior to a Knicks Pacers game, and he just actually asked me, "How you doing, man? Haven't seen you in a while." I remember covering him way back when. Great guy, and he's now he's on Forbes magazine, and like Kevin Boyle said, that he's like the king of the cannabis industry. And wow, what a perfect segue, because this segment is brought to you by Breckenridge Hemp Company, right out of Colorado, established back in 2017. They have dispensaries out in Colorado, and they have a great place that I always go visit, West 31st Street in New York City. Wow. 59, I believe, West 31st Street, the Breckenridge Hemp Company. Yeah. All right, thank you, Mass Megastar. Before you go, Mass Megastar, tell us the new beef. You have the video? And Kevin, we're going to get you out of here, but we have a couple more questions, but we have a big moment right now for the Mass Megastar. He is on the run from the Mexican cartel, and we have the video. Yeah. And let's play it. Oh, Kevin has disappeared again. He now knows he's in the presence of the Mass Megastar. Let's just see the video. Please play it and run us through it.
Coach
Mass
Boyle.
Megastar. Boyle's gone. All right. This is unbelievable. Stand by, Boyle. We'll get you back up. Let's go. Get the video up. Here it is. Could you run us through this? Mass Megastar.
I cannot see it.
Okay, I'm looking at a man in a man sitting on a ring. And he gets kicked off the bottom turnbuckle. Now, what was going on there?
Yeah, I was in a tag match with him, and that's me kicking him.
That's you kicking him right there.
That's me kicking him. That was about 30
That's a young Mass Megastar right there.
You also bopped him on the head.
Wow.
That is actually Mil Mascaris's nephew.
Wow, that's wow.
Del
you really.
Corito.
All right. Let's get him out of here. Has that caused the rift with the Mexican cartel?
Absolutely. He's after me for that incident.
All
right, get him out of here. Lay low. All right, Kevin, we talked about Al Harrington, a success. We have to talk about one Kyrie Irving. John, I'll defer to you. I know that's one guy you actually know in the sports world.
Yes, I actually do know him. And I won't start with this, Coach Boyle. I trust the media about as far as I can throw the Mass Megastar. Okay,
I gotcha.
You know this guy personally. What type of person is Kyrie Irving? Would you say?
Well, personally. Obviously, I had Kyrie in high school. I really haven't been in touch with him recently. You know, you get caught up in your NBA life, and you're caught up in your life. I know his manager well, Jeff Rogers, a guy I used to, I was involved with. He used to work for Nike for years, so I talked to Jeff more. But Kyrie was just a really dedicated kid, loved basketball. And again, like you said, I don't know the different things people write and don't write.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
Unless I hear it or see it, you don't know what's accurate or inaccurate.
Absolutely,
I got to believe, that he was always with us. He was always a good person, and
and that's what I believe about him.
Yeah, I hold that to be true. And again, I don't get caught up in people's be it political views or
no. Listen, I understand. And I appreciate you answering the question honestly, because you just don't know. You hear all this stuff. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know what whose political agenda is what, and you don't know. But it's nice to talk to somebody that personally knows him, because what you said is what I believe personally.
And
I mean, he's again one of the probably maybe the greatest finisher in the history of basketball, right hand, left hand around the rim, of all time, and one of the greatest dribbling handles of all time. So offensively, clearly one of the best players to step on the court. And again, everybody has their own personality, everybody has their own beliefs, and obviously you want to be respectful of everybody. And if anybody has something that's controversial, you want to hear from them, not from somebody else, especially if you know somebody. You want to give them that respect that, before you make any judgments.
Listen, that to me, that's a great answer, honestly, because, what better way than to hear from the person and not the person writing the hit piece on them, but
beware what you read or see in the media. That's all. That's all I'll say. I mean, I've only worked in it for 3 decades plus, but beware. Does anyone really know what's inside someone else's soul? Right.
No, listen. And at the end of the day, it should be about what he does on the court. His personal views are his personal views, just like Coach said. Right. That's his personal views. If you don't like it, that's fine. But he's free to have them. So I don't understand why it translates to his job, right? That's what always gets me about the whole thing, right? You can't, if you don't go in a certain line, it's your job on the line, and I don't like that. I don't think that's that's what this country's about.
No, I listen, and I agree with you, John. And listen, Kevin saw him at a time. He knew him at a time when he was excelling on the court, and love to have his opinion on that. And I just want to know, with Kyrie on the court, Kevin, what was it about him that you saw early on that you just kind of knew?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, I saw him play, and the best thing I can say when I saw Kyrie play in high school was he was. It seemed like he was moving very, very slow, but he was still like way ahead of everyone else. Is that a good?
Well, that's the key. It's just like a quarterback or a great guard. The game actually slows down. That doesn't mean you don't make a fast decision or occasionally a quick play or take a quick shot, but you're in total control. It's almost like the game's going in slow motion. It's kind of like a young quarterback in the NFL. He gets rushed and he gets out quick because he feels the pressure of all those big athletes coming at him. And later on, he steps up or he ducks under a guy, has a second and a half, then he leaves because now he's really, he's getting all his reads and he's not panicking. He's not having the pressure speed him up. And it's the same thing in basketball. A lot of times kids get in trouble because they attack the rim too fast and a little out of control, and they can't kind of tuck the ball back in and then kiss it off the window. And Shaheen, the better guards, from the top of the key in, often have more dribbles and often slow the game out down and let the big guy roll and see if there's a pick and roll or pick and lob, or see if the corner helped and they have to kick it out. And they kind of let the thing slows down for him. So he had that early. He had the ability with the left and right hand and shooting. Because I remember, like as Phil said, before we played St. Benedict's with Danny Hurley's team. They were number 1 in the country. We played him at Rutgers, and that was, I don't know if it was his first or second game. And I was telling everybody that he was going to be the best guard that ever played in New Jersey, and people were killing me on the internet, And we destroyed St. Benedict's. And he dominated the game, and they had, a bunch of really good players, and they were number 1 at the time, and we won by like 20 points, and it was halftime, it was over. And he just, put a show on. And I think right there, people started to think, well, he is going to be pretty darn good, and it's that thing where, obviously, when you say who was the best guard ever to play in New Jersey in the NBA, he's got to be in the argument, so I think that's pretty clear.
Well, listen, I want to get Kevin out of here because he's been on for an hour. We appreciate his time. But
Gino,
I'm sorry, Vegas Bueno. Go ahead.
Can I ask one question? The final question you told me I could ask the first question. You wouldn't let me.
No, wait. You're going to ask the second to last question because the last question comes from a former player of his. So go ahead. Go ahead, Vegas.
I thought I was waiting again.
Oh, wow. That's funny. Wait, hold on. Vegas. Everybody keep quiet.
What are you talking about?
Go ahead, Vegas.
This is to the two coaches.
Go.
Both Kevin and Phil. You're playing each other, big game, okay, at the Dunn Center. Who do you want? Wayne Avery or Gene Golda behind the microphone?
Wow! What an wow! Hold on,
that's a huge question.
Wait.
I gotta hear this now. Let's see what's going on.
I'm gonna step back.
I'll answer first. Not even close. Wayno gave me my first interview ever. Wayno's been by my side since about 3rd grade. Fuck you, Gene. You suck.
It's Wayno.
Cut off Phil Colicchio right now.
I'll never do that.
I want him off my show.
I won't do that.
I want him off. Get him off. Go ahead. Kevin Boyle needs to answer this question. He better answer it truthfully.
I'm going to say without question, Gene, it's his show.
Wow.
You know what?
Oh, I don't know
give him a
about
round
that.
of applause.
He said it's his show. I'm giving you a
Listen, Kevin Boyle knows when he came into town, there was a supporter of his, and Wayne used to make fun of me all the time. You used to sleep with the guy, blah blah blah. So what? So what? We shared a bed in Myrtle Beach. Joe Santiago. We know Joe Santiago. He wants to know, Kevin. Still briefs or boxers? What are we going on? What are we going with now?
You're funny, Gene.
Oh.
I thought that was you in red in bed.
Red McGlory, God rest his soul. Oh my goodness, do we love Red or what?
Red had
Gene,
12
tell the
pack
story.
and said Gene was in bed with a thong on.
I don't listen. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still skeptical about this story, Gene.
Okay, no. Let me retell this story.
You say that it happened one way, but I'm saying like if you told me like either one of those guys was the guy that was in the bed, I would think that you would be the guy trying to cuddle them. That's what I think.
No. Listen.
I think you were the cuddler.
Listen,
you walk around with Elton John glasses and a shiny shirt. So if anybody's cuddling anybody,
I will tell you this. I did black out a couple of the nights, and I assure you that nothing occurred from my end. Now, I say 30% that he spooned me. 30%.
Coach Boyle?
Wait a minute. I got the last question. No, this is so important.
This is a real question.
This is a real question, and this is a great way for Kevin to get off the show. I've said it that his incredible ability to develop players and players that might not even start for him. Right. For example, I work with one of his former players, Kazeem Famuyide. I hope I got that right. I think I did. And he had a question for you. Now, do you remember Kaz when he played for you, Kevin?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So the question for Kevin from Kaz goes like this. Did you see yourself being a high school kingmaker by taking out the legends? What he's saying is when you came in and you had to take out some legends, and we're not talking about, I don't think in a negative way here.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying. He's trying to say that we have gotten past Elizabeth and St. Anthony's. Well, obviously to, win the state and so forth, and those type of things, you had to beat at the time Benny Cannellino and Elizabeth and Bobby Hurley in St. Anthony's, and that was something that obviously we didn't win all the time, but we had we were more successful than not against both schools, and I think in our last 14 years, 9 of our last 14 years, we finished ahead of St. Anthony's, and then at the end, Benny ended up retiring early, so we had good success against them as well. So, but they were both, terrific coaches, and both, Bob's in the Hall of Fame, and Benny was, I'm sure he's in the New Jersey Hall of Fame. If he's not, he will be. He was a terrific coach, and when we talked before, my father used to actually take me to St. Mary's a lot when Benny was coaching St. Mary's to play there, because Benny wanted me to go to St. Mary's, and my father made me go to Clark because Jerry Alaco was the coach before Petrozelli, and Jerry Alaco put so much time into us as kids when we were in Clark, when I was young. So he thought we had to, give that a chance first. Even though he was friends with Benny and really liked Benny. And like I said, he used to always drive me down there to Elizabeth on Sundays to play. But anyway, I got to sign off now.
No, yeah. Listen, Kev, thank you so much, buddy. We appreciate it. We appreciate your time. I can't say thank you enough. Please say hello to the whole family. We wish you nothing but the best. Anybody else have anything to say to Kevin Boyle?
Yeah, Kevin, thank you, man. Thank you for coming on the show. It was nice to meet you. It was nice to talk to you, and I appreciate the candid answers. It's
take care, guys.
Good luck,
right,
love you, Kev. Bye. All right, guys.
All right. Well, listen. I want to just say, before we end the show here, Coach Boyle made a good point that we haven't given the World Cup its due, because it's on right now and everybody's watching and everything like that. So, listen, I want to play the latest commercial from the World Cup. This is breaking. This hasn't been played yet. Nobody's seen this yet. So we're going to play this. We're going to leave you guys with this one right here. We're going to leave it. We're going to end the show.
Let's go.
and every other thing. We're talking sports, 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 and every other thing.